Arizona has scored 3 times in the first couple of innings, 2 in the first, 1 in the second. We go to the top of the third. And with Ryan Spilborghs and Mark Stout, I'm Drew Goodman. We're pleased to have, he has become a friend over the last couple of years, Craig Bohl, the head coach of the University of Wyoming, with us. Coach, how are you?
Well, doing really well, and great to be back on, and excited about our relationship with Rue.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get right after this in a moment. The fact that Wyoming again will be on Root Sports several times come the autumn. You have Nebraska roots. You have roots in the Dakotas where you did a spectacular job. I like the way you play football because I'm kind of old school. I kind of like you line up and we're going to hit you in the mouth and come after you. And I also like, in this age of throwing it all over the lot and spreading everybody out, you're sticking to your roots.
Well, there's a secret to success, and sometimes what coaches do, they forget who they are and what really makes the program successful. And so we stayed with that common vision. We had the second youngest football team in college football last year, and most of the time we played like that. The encouraging thing is we have almost an entire squad back, and I think we've got a very talented quarterback coming back with a great running back duo with Brian Hill and Sean Webb.
I got to ask you, it's your 3rd season now with Wyoming as Chad Bettis earns a strikeout. What did you learn in your 11 years at North Dakota State, and how did it transfer over to your?
Well, I think the biggest thing was making sure the culture in your locker room is correct, and that's that's probably an overused term, but we really had to re-engineer everything from our systems to our mindset, and also to find a culture that's going to fit the state of Wyoming. And Drew just mentioned you're coming from Nebraska and North Dakota. There's not a lot of difference. You got a ranch kid that has a big belt buckle, and to play tough physical football is important. In today's game, to be balanced is important. And then the other thing is find guys that are buying into your mission. And we did that at North Dakota State this last year. The number 2 guy taken in the draft was a guy named Carson Wentz, was a small town kid from Bismarck. And so we're convinced that you can recruit guys from the Wyoming area, Nebraska. Colorado's a huge area for us in recruiting and getting more guys to be bought in.
You do a great job in the Centennial State. In fact, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Coach, I believe you pull of the major schools in the area, Colorado, Colorado State, Wyoming. Air Force a little different deal because they're an academy. I think you pull more kids out of the state of Colorado than the aforementioned programs. Is that accurate?
That's very accurate. What we did, we went and studied when the Cowboys were great, and there was a strong presence of players from this state. And many times you can fly all over the country, and there's guys right here in your own backyard. And so we knock on every door, treat the high school coaches right, look kids in the eye, and we believe in developing those guys. And so they're starting to become a major pipeline up to Laramie, and we're excited about those guys.
Well, you mentioned getting guys from Colorado. Eddie Yarbrough is now from Aurora.
Yeah, that's right.
Signed with the Denver Broncos. Give me a little background on him and how you were able to recruit him.
Well, you know what? He actually was recruited by the previous staff, and many times you'd come in and you're looking and saying, okay, who are these guys? And there's nobody like Eddie. He's got a resolve and a resiliency, and he's a team player. He's got an engine that won't quit. He's always got a smile. He was a captain, and what he really did, he kept engaging our young players. Many times you find guys that can be down, we're not winning, and those guys were really, really encouraging. Here you can see Eddie playing really hard. Now we're excited about his presence with the Broncos.
I say this all the time when it comes to recruiting. When February and signing day comes around, this ball is smoked, and Nolan is going to be able to knock it down. That's it. It'll be a base hit for Ricky Weeks. 1 out, Weeks to first base. Yeah, Alabama and LSU and those programs are going to get plenty of 4- and 5-star guys. And then when the draft rolls around 5 years later, there's a whole lot of schools that aren't named Alabama. They're well represented, but not named Alabama and Florida State and Tennessee and SC. There's schools like you mentioned, the second kid in the draft was a kid that you recruited to NDSU. And you realize that so much of athletics, and Spilly knows this. He went to UCSB, wasn't a highly recruited kid. He played a long time in the big leagues. lot of guys bloom late, so I don't care about the stars. I know you don't care about this is a 2-star kid, because you don't know what he's going to play like in 4 or 5 years.
Now you guys get the understanding of competitive athletics and developing, and who's got the really determination, the resolve, and the character to continue to improve. And football is a game of, it's a physical game, it's a discipline game. You got to put on lean muscle mass and play as a team. So a lot of those components are not reflected in stars. And wow.
Now he's safe at first base, so it'll be 2 outs. And Yasmani Tomas.
Got to ask you if you can answer as quick as possible. I'm always curious about, you talk about Eddie Yarbrough being a high motor guy. Can that be taught?
That's difficult. But within that culture, what occurs if you have guys that are self-starters, those guys that are on the outside part of the fence, either they get on the right side of the fence or they're gone. What you got to have, the composition in your locker room, you've got to have a lot of high motor guys. And most of the time, though, that's an insight in recruiting, to be able to peer in a young man's heart and find out, okay, is it beating blood or Kool-Aid? And you want the guys that are pumping blood.
It's such a great point. I say this all the time, whether it be the sport we're watching right now, baseball, or where you've made your living in football, basketball. The hardest thing to determine for you guys is what is inside somebody, because I'll tell you, in baseball's 25-man roster, your roster is going to be a lot deeper than that. NFL, we talk about 53-man rosters. Give me chip on the shoulder guy over pretty guy every day of the week.
And twice on Sunday.
Twice on Sunday.
And to be able to have the insight, that's more art than science. You have all your numbers, and certainly we look at 40-yard dashes and we look at their statistics. But you sit down with a young man and look him in the eye and say, all right, where are you going to be 4 years from now? Are you going to mature academically? Are you going to be a team player? Are you going to have discipline? All those things are foundational blocks that we really believe are going to make a difference at the University of Wyoming.
Coach, can you stick around for a half inning? We appreciate it. Craig Bohl is with us, the head coach at the University of Wyoming. He's turning things around up there. 3-0 Diamondbacks right now.